Hey y'all, hope y'all are doing good. Thank you for tuning in here. This video here is the things that Tennessee needs to fix in 2025. Now, I a couple days ago brought to you the 5 bowl predictions of what I think Tennessee's going to do. Here's the 5 things that Tennessee must do. If they and these were things that Tennessee did not do last year. They did it very poorly, and I'm going to go through here on 1 through 5 of the things that Tennessee did last year that they must fix this year if they want to be an SEC contender or a college football playoff contender. So, with all those things being said, let's get right down to it. The first thing Tennessee must do is they must protect the quarterback. Too many sacks last year. It's a combination of a couple things. Quarterback last year, Nico, he held onto the ball too long at times. Second thing was there was some bad pass blocking. There was some growing pains with Lance Hurd at left tackle as a freshman. He was just getting beat a lot. A lot of that had to do with him getting hurt. Campbell, they moved him to right tackle. He didn't transition that well. He gave up some sacks. They did do better in allowing sacks as the year went on. They were better. But we must keep making progress in that regard because Tennessee was 86th last year in sacks allowed, and that's not good enough to be in the top half of the SEC in 2025. So we got to protect the quarterback. We have to keep our quarterback upright and healthy, and we cannot be behind the 8 ball on a 2nd and long and a 3rd and long. We have to keep short yardage situations, especially with the quarterback situation that we have. We don't have the ideal situation in the quarterback room right now. We've got a 2 freshman quarterbacks, and we have a portal quarterback in Joey Aguilar that we've brought in here. That he's pretty decent, but he's not Arch Manning, right? We cannot be putting these guys in bad situations. So that's the first thing: protect the quarterback. The second thing is we got to cut down on penalties and fumbles, okay? Tennessee was 118th last year in penalties, averaged 67 yards a game. And guys, I cannot tell you all the times we had drives thwarted because of a holding penalty or a false start penalty that we either had to settle for a field goal or pump the ball. And it was such a promising drive until those penalties rose up. We got to be more disciplined. And I got to be honest with you, under Josh Heupel, we've been horrible with penalties. We've not been disciplined, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And we've gotten away with a lot of that because we've had the deep plays, in his first couple of years where they're putting a 2 safety high look on this Tennessee team and making us methodically go down the field and making us work for these TDs. These penalties are rising up more, and they're costing us points. So, got to cut down on the penalties. Fumbles, too. Tennessee lost 8 fumbles last year, which was 83rd in the country, and lost fumbles. Poor Dylan Sampson, he had just an amazing year last year. You can't really say anything negative about Dylan Sampson, but if you do, it was the fumble situation. He went through like 4 or 5 straight games where he had a fumble, and they were in really bad moments of games. We were able to overcome them for the most part, but we cannot be turning the football over. We got to be disciplined. We have to be able to take care of the football because without those things, Tennessee is a 6-6 or 7-5 team if we don't do those things right there. We got to be disciplined. The third thing is the passing offense has got to improve, guys. It's steadily gotten worse since 2022. In 2022, Tennessee had the number 1 pass offense in the country. From 2023 on, it's been on a steep decline. I think a lot of that is these teams adapting. Like I said earlier a minute ago, they're giving us a 2 safety look where they're making sure we don't beat them on the deep ball, making us complete those passes over the middle, driving methodically down the field. But, we were 77th in the country last year in pass offense. Just that will not get it done. Our rush offense has been the last 2 or 3 years amazing. But when you're 77th in passing offense, that's really unbalanced. We have to be way more balanced in our passing offense. In 2022, Tennessee averaged over 300 yards passing a game. Last year, we averaged, let me see what the stats were, 221 yards per game through the air. That will not get it done. We got to be well north of 250 yards if we're going to be competitive in the SEC. And it's gotten worse every year. We got to get better. We've got to rectify that, and it's been on a steep decline. And Heupel's got to throw in some wrinkles. He's got to do something different because these defensive coordinators have figured us out in regard to those wide splits and how we are throwing the football. They have figured it out. So Heupel needs to adapt, and he needs to do something better where we can get the ball to players more and get them in situations where we can score. The fourth thing, the offense has to go faster. We have gotten slower as well every single year. From 2022, we dropped off. Let's see, from 2022, let me back up here. Last year, we were 21st in the country as far as pace and seconds per play, which that's not awful, but it is awful compared if you go back to 2022 and 2023. In those seasons, they were almost identical, but Tennessee is almost 2.5 seconds more delayed than in those seasons. That means we're giving defenses more time to get lined up, getting in a defense that they can recognize and adapt. Tennessee is better at a quick pace. We have to go, 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 go. You can't. We were way too slow last year. A lot of that was Nico, him not being ready. We've got to get that rectified. See, Tennessee last year at home averaged 22.6 seconds per play, but we were 25.1 on the road, which is 2 seconds worse. And that tells you a lot of our issues on the road and why we struggled on the road as much too. Because, I mean, when we're running at a slower pace and we're not as in gear and a well-oiled machine, it shows right there in how we are delayed in our snap count. So we got to get better at that. We've got to be able to line up. And if you remember 2022, Hendon Hooker, he lined up there, identified the defenses, and went. This year, or last year, it was much slower, and I think that was to protect Nico. But we got to get back at getting the ball snapped and going at a much, much quicker pace. That's number 4. The number 5 thing is, I've talked about sacks earlier with our offense. We got to be a lot better as far as our defense getting sacks as well. As far as our defense last year, we took a big step back from where we were in 2023. 2023, we had 41 sacks. Last year, 29. 29 sacks was good for 50th overall in the country. And that's head-scratching to me that we had James Pierce, Omar Norman Lott, and we were 50th in sacks. And that's a couple things. One is, I don't think James Banks blitzed enough to get home to the quarterbacks. I think he tried to get pressure with his front four, and a lot of times it just didn't pay off. And the second thing is, I think that what I heard was a lot of these teams, Tate Ratledge talked about it, the guard for Georgia, they were tipped off in the game room on tendencies that the offensive line, or the defensive line, had of letting them know whether they were going to blitz or where the gap they were going to go in. So, we got to do a better job of not showing tendencies of what we're going to do and what we're going to do on the plays, kind of like a Connor Stallions thing here or something. People are getting tipped off of what we're doing, and it's screwing everything up. But we got to blitz more. We got to be more aggressive. You got to get over 35 sacks, guys. 29 sacks. I think that's 2.2 sacks per game, which, like I said earlier, in SEC action, that's not horrible. But when you factor in the games against your Austin Peays and your ETSUs and even Syracuse or even whoever else we play out of conference, your sack numbers have to be much higher. So anyway, those are the 5 things Tennessee must do, and must do much better if they want to compete for a national title, playoff contender, SEC contender, that type of team. Without drastic improvements in these 5 categories, Tennessee is doomed to a very average or subpar average season. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I'll talk to y'all again soon. Have a great rest of your weekend.